Travis Wayne Goodsell. Time for the Jewish Pentecost video. So today is the 1st of June, which means Mormons are still going to church, refusing to study their scriptures, and continually paying the church tithing money, which is the extortion racket and the prostitution price, as they will either participate in or sit and watch, waiting for somebody to get up and say something foolish on the stand today at the pulpit of church, because it's Fast and Testimony Sunday, a Sabbath day for Mormons. And so it could get more views of those who are not listening to somebody that they're wanting to record instead to get popular on their YouTube channel. You don't hear much about those anymore. After the internet was created and people began posting Fast and Testimonies on YouTube. Hilarious. But the Book of Mormon and Joseph Smith and the Bible all tell us that we're supposed to be Jewish, and thus practice the Jewish religion with the Jewish Christ and the Jewish holy days. And today is Shavuot, the Passover, or the Festival of Weeks, 50 days after Passover started. And so for Christians who botched it, turned it into Christian Pentecost after Easter, 50 days after Easter. And so that was this year, the day after the end of Passover. And I've gone over that scandal with you, is especially Mormons who believe that Jesus was born in 1 CE. Talmud said 1 BCE. But using the Jewish calendar for when the Jewish Passover occurred, it doesn't fit. But this year it fits. This year it fits. Because the Jewish Passover was from Sabbath to Sabbath of the Jews, Saturday to Saturday, the 12th through the 19th of April, when the sun passed over the dry land of the parted waters of Pisces. It's awesome. Really cool and fulfilling scripture prophecy, by the way. Mormons don't study, they don't care, they don't know. Lots of things are happening because the latter days are over with. We're now waiting for Armageddon. And when Joseph Smith said in his second vision, adding to Malachi, "They that come shall burn them." So it's not Jesus. And yet the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints keeps blaming Jesus in advance for the burning that is coming. And Nelson finally had to confess in April, I don't know the day anymore. It didn't happen before conference like it was supposed to. Something happened and went wrong. Because Oaks got leaked in 2020, which I didn't find out about until end of last year. That 2020 and 2021 was just a test run for right now. So yeah, heads up. Armageddon is coming in a coming day. Zzz. Come on, Trump. That was great. Hegseth now has been poking the Chinese panda bear to start a war. So maybe. And so Pentecost for Christians is based on 50 days from Easter, as they believe the version in Acts is literal history. This was created in the 200s, before the creation of Christianity. Christians are in denial of their origin story that was 1700 years ago this August. Whether the Pope is going to celebrate it or not, doesn't look like it. He's going to skip it, just like the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints skipped the second vision bicentennial, about the Book of Mormon warning of they that come shall burn them. Oops. So, God. Don't even get me started. So yeah, I need to get through this video so that I can go bathe and cut my hair today and get on with my life. Since Trump is delaying things. But it's coming. It's coming. It's coming. So let's hope. Come on, Trump, you can do it. Don't be a taco. Don't be a taco. Yes, anger and humiliate to anger further the one guy with his hands on the nuclear football. Good thinking, deep state Dems. Good thinking. So we'll go over the Christianized version and correct it for you as Jewish. And then we'll go to the Jewish version from the Exodus. Yeah, this is just a plagiarized version of the Exodus. All Jews plagiarized each other. It's the same stories repeated over and over again. It's just different character names, different characters therefore, and then different locations and different time periods. It's the same story repeated over and over again, because all Jews have to follow the Jewish law about their Jewish Christ coming in the future. All of this is prophecy and revelation. And so it's not a coincidence that this matches up with 2025, as it also matched with 2022. But somebody ran a test run instead. God, unbelievable. A test run? Everything happened. It was all ready to go, and they said it was a test run. Urgh. The waters were parted, both in the heavens and on earth. Oh my God! And I didn't find out about it until the end of last year. Oh my God. So, Bruce R. McConkie deceives you with the chapter ending. Not just by turning it Christian, but botching the actual text. And so, if you read Bruce R. McConkie, you see Jesus ministers for 40 days after his resurrection. So you're thinking this is just another gospel that has actual Jesus, and he's speaking to his disciples, and hey, I'm back. To Jesus, he's back, and he's mad and getting revenge. Yep, SNL, always good for a mockery of Christianity. And so, what actually is written in the text, which you're not supposed to, you're just supposed to read, ponder, and pray, and get the right feeling, and it's all true. But the actual English grammar and comprehension of vocabulary is the former treatise, Have I Made, O Theophilus, of all that Jesus began both to do and teach, until the day in which he was taken up. Notice it's not the words of Jesus. And so, yeah, he's just making what was already made worse by Christians worse. Stop it, Bruce. You will know no better now than you knew then that you don't know. That's a Mormonism joke for you. And if I have to explain that it was his final talk in which he said that and then he died, it's ruined. Ruined. But he did die on the sun shall be darkened, moon turned to blood, stars fall from heaven. That is curious. He's one of the rare other apostle prophets who died under the curse of Joseph Smith. Fascinating. Fascinating. Because not all of them did. Presidents, yes. Not all prophets. Bruce R. McConkie was one of the prophets. Fascinating. He then goes on to tell us the kingdom to be restored to Israel at a latter time. He means Joseph Smith, not the latter days. The 12 to bear witness in Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, and the uttermost parts of the earth. No, Bruce. This is the gathering time for Pentecost in chapter 2. I guess maybe chapter 1 is the summary, so okay, we'll let you get away with that. Jesus, are you listening, Russell Marion Nelson? Jesus ascends into heaven. Even Bruce knew, Nelson. Nelson will never say that Jesus ascended. He always says resurrected from the tomb. He never says ascended. Kind of important, and yet Nelson won't say the words. And then Matthias chosen to fill the vacancy in the 12. Well, obviously this is the book of Matthew, not the book of Acts. Not the book of Acts. See, because chapter 3 is what Joseph Smith quotes for the Jewish Christ, rather than Deuteronomy 18, verses 15 through 19, in which the date is given for this. And that's why you know that it is not the Roman period time, it is not literal history, it is not in chronological order. This is prophecy of the Jews for the latter days, and they give you the latter days. And if you ask when, I just gave it to you at the beginning. You're not listening. Alrighty. So, yeah, we weren't going to go into that because this is going to be long enough as it is, especially with all the comedy that ensues because of Christian debauchery. And so in the context of the Jewish understanding. You have 2017 when the Jewish Christ, comes, starts his ministry to Mormons, and then for 7 years is involved in Passover, the 7 years. 7 is, Shavuot, and Sabbath for the 7th day is Sabbat, and Shavuot being weeks, 7 times 7 plus the 1 for Pentecost, for 50, Penta, 5, cost, 50. Is weeks, but it's all symbolic for the number 7. As I told you, that the Babylonians created the calendar with a 7-day week. The Egyptians did not have that. Babylonians created it. Babylon was 600 BC. And so the Jews, being taken captive into Babylon, assimilated into Babylon, and so the Qumran community then wrote the book of Deuteronomy and put in the 10 Commandments, thou shalt keep the Sabbath day holy. But it's in the context of Egypt, as the Lord for the Jews is the man like Moses. And so at the beginning of chapter 5, he explains that to you. The Qumran community Jew who's writing this explained this, that Moses in the story of the Exodus is the Jewish Christ of the future, Jesus. And as the Passover story of the Exodus had the 7 years and celebrated in the calendar as 7 days, likewise the story of the Pentecost of the Jews, which was getting to Mount Sinai or Horeb, depending on which text. You need to know your Paleo-Hebrew to know that it means the same, and it's no big deal. And so this is where I'll get to it, where Aaron takes over the church, turns it into the great and abominable church, has the abomination of desolation with the sacrifices for the gold cow, the golden Book of Mormon. It's gold, not golden, but Mormons screw that up too with gold plates rather than golden. And I've done the videos, and you don't care, you don't watch, you don't understand because you don't read. You need to know your scriptures to come to my channel to understand things. And then you don't, and so you don't. And then you're confused and you make a dumbass comment. I don't understand what you're talking about because you don't study. Study and you'll understand. I'm hilarious. And then orgy sex breaks out. That is the Greeks when they did the abomination of desolation to the Jerusalem temple, for which the Maccabean revolt had to happen to take back the temple and cleanse it of the prostitution and the wrong endowment ceremony with underwear. Yes, fulfilled their prophecies, remember? It's all about Mormons. Joseph Smith said so. Book of Mormon says so. Scriptures say so. Where do you think Utah is? It's not in Jerusalem. Phonetic phonetically the same. Judah, Utah. And so, yeah, fascinating, because the Mormons wanted to call it Deseret, not Utah. That was that other person who got to Congress to have it changed. And then they notified Brigham Young in January. And so he's the territorial governor of Utah. And thanks to Stanford. In February, Brigham Young has a secret meeting as governor of the territory of Utah to incorporate the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in 1851 as the state of Deseret. He's already involved in another coup. Oh my God. Hilarious. Anyway, so then Jesus in the Gospels, as it was summarized in one, from 2017 to 2024, because the Exodus year was 2020, and so it was a test run, and so it's extended, is preaching to Mormons, focusing on Mormons. So the story of the woman at the well, yeah, that's others who are not Mormon. You know, like Jasmine, who I brought up this morning and was bawling over. And anybody who wants to be a part of the real religion of the Jews, yes. But the focus is for the Christ to focus on Mormons. And Christians don't get it. Islam doesn't get it. Jews don't get it because they were influenced by Constantine too, and have forgotten their origins, their original traditions, creating new traditions of falsehood. They need to be reclaimed back to their origins. Because there's a lot of denialists of the Jewish origins, especially since October 7th. And so the Passion Week is merely the repeating of Passover, of the 7 years of the latter days, and it's out of order because Palm Sunday should actually be at the end, which is Pentecost. Palm Sunday is Pentecost in the Jewish author's understanding. And yet, Christians botched it, turning it into literal history. Okay? And so this Acts is about a reminding of the people of the gospel stories and repeating the same information for the latter days. This was exceedingly popular when it came out, more so than any of the other gospels. People were loving this text. And then Christianity with Constantine came and destroyed it. Okay? Because when this came out, the war against the Romans was escalated again. And there were people who were trying to be like Jesus of the Gospels written earlier, to be martyrs, to die in the same manner that Jesus died, as they so supposed. So people are starting to screw up the interpretation already at this point, which made it easier for Constantine to come in and say, you're all wrong, we're creating one interpretation, and we're going to be wrong. and we're going to create something that's not real, and you're all going to believe it or die. Thus, the first creed of Christianity. All right, and so the crucifixion on the cross is the 8 April 2024 sign in the heavens. And the burial in the tomb, 3 days, 3 hours on the cross of darkness, solar eclipses. Emmanuel, sun god at noonday, the Most High of the Egyptians, for the David Moses 18th dynasty of Egypt. David Moses III with Armageddon 1. And so Pentecost does a brief chapter to summarize everything leading up to the Pentecost time. And so chapter 2 is Pentecost. All right? And so the Jesus being resurrected is the restoration of Joseph Smith's religion that was destroyed by Brigham Young, the abomination of desolation. And so it's not resurrection as a bodily resurrection. It's a re-erection, a second erection. Joseph Smith erected the church. Brigham Young insurrected the church. The Christ resurrects Joseph's church. That's what it means. And so all the Mormons who thought that Joseph Smith is going to be literally resurrected from the grave as the zombie apocalypse, oh my hell. Stop it. Oh my God. No. I mean, sure, maybe I'll watch the movie, but it better have Nicolas Cage. That's all I gotta say. Better have Nicolas Cage. We'll just have to schedule time to film in between Chosen. Oh my God. I do not want to watch that show. Dear God. Anyway. It's bad enough that the church came out with their own version of Chosen. Alright. So, when the day of Pentecost was fully come, they were all with one accord in one place. Are you listening, Nelson? Mister, we're going to gather wherever you are scattered around the earth. For the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the gathering to Zion means gathering by conversion to the church and paying the church money. And then gathering at church on Sunday, wherever you are around the world, and get up and bear your false witness testimony of how you know the church is true, that Jesus is real and lives, and you've seen him, but that's not what you mean, because it's a spiritual witness feeling, and that Joseph Smith was a prophet who used rocks in a hat to translate correctly with the plagiarized Bible translation errors and all. And that Nelson is the true living head of the church, denying the powers, the gifts, and authority that he's supposed to have. Dear God, just read. That's all you had to do. And you get angry with me and you deny because you won't read. I mean, seriously. Oh my hell. Section 107, verses 91 and 92. Read it. You won't. You're scared. Bark, bark, bark. You're a taco. Mormons are tacos. Will not study. But it have to be Mako rather than taco. Mormons always checking out. This is a Pentecost video. We can't put that in the title. I'd get more views if I put Mako. Oh, dear God. And so, yes, the scriptures make it very clear, as Joseph Smith did, no, the scattered Mormons from around the world must be gathered to Zion. And it's not Utah, it is not Independence, Missouri, because 19 July 1840 finally got published by the church in the Joseph Smith papers. They just don't want you to know about it. It's in southern Illinois, you know, where X marks the spot for the solar eclipses. That is supposed to be the Exodus. And we were already supposed to be there, but it was a test run, and they didn't tell us it was a test run. It had to be leaked by a little sister missionary who thought that it was so true as faith promoting, not understanding that Oaks didn't want anybody to know about it. Especially me. The Mormon YouTube employee in Utah County thought he was going to put me in my place and recommend a video for me when Oaks didn't want you to leak it to me. Hilarious. And so, suddenly there came a sound from heaven as of a rushing mighty wind, and it filled all the house where they were sitting. Notice it's not the temple. This was written after the temple was destroyed. The temple is still available for them. And yet, they call it a house now. In the Exodus story, it's called a tabernacle, a tent. Here it's called a house. And so, yes, the house of God, filled with the Holy Ghost. This is the tabernacle of the Exodus story. So that's, you need to use both and see the pattern matching that's going on here. Don't say that this is a completely different story of literal history and therefore separate it. No. Compare the two stories. They are the same. It's a different Jewish author, different characters, different character names, different setting, different time period. Same story. Prophecy of the latter days. And there appeared unto them cloven tongues like as of fire, and it sat upon each of them. So I'm sure that was real. 3a doesn't explain it any further other than to reference section 109 verse 36. Let it be fulfilled upon them as upon those on the day of Pentecost. Let the gift of tongues be poured out upon the people, even cloven tongues as of fire, and the interpretation thereof. You cannot have somebody babbling at the pulpit of conference on fast and testimony meeting day, claiming he's getting the Spirit, and then nobody interprets it. But that's not what it means. Did you not remember? Oh, you don't read, do you? The Tower of Babel. They were speaking in tongues. And Jesus said, no! So likewise here, Christians create Babel language. There are Pentecostal churches because of their interpretation of Babel language. And you get these preachers who get up in front of the audience and they're babbling away nonsense, made up words. Bow. And everybody goes, praise Jesus! Church is true! And it's just, oh my God. Nobody understands them. Everybody's feeling the spirit of the energy in the room. And, oh dear God, what a joke. No. Again, pay attention to the words of the text. They were all with one accord in one place from around the whole world. The scattered Mormons are gathered in one place. They all speak a different language. They need to be understood together. We have the technology to make this happen. We all know this, and yet Pentecostals still exist. As Joseph Smith explained, no, translation and interpretation of the translation. That's what it means. Real simple. And so when you get different languages coming to Zion, they need to understand what's being spoken. So you need to have a translator. That's what it's talking about here. Not complicated, and Christians screwed it up. And so they were dwelling at Jerusalem, Jews, devout men, out of every nation under heaven. Not complicated to figure out. Because that every man heard them speak in his own language. There's also the prophecy of the one language created or restored, technically, because it's Paleo-Hebrew, because every Hebrew letter is included in that passage, which Bible scripture talks about forgiveness. What the hell are you talking about? No. Has every single Hebrew letter in it. Zephaniah 3:8. Okay, so we can go to that. Zephaniah 3:8, and 9 is the prophecy. So verse 8 of Zephaniah 3 has every single letter of the Hebrew alphabet. It is the only verse in the published canonized version of the Old Testament. The only passage with every single 22 letters. Therefore, wait ye upon me, saith the Lord, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations. See where Acts got it from? That I may assemble the kingdoms to pour out upon them mine indignation, the day that shall burn as an oven, from Malachi. Even all my fierce anger, for all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. Joseph Smith clarifies and says, they that come shall burn them. The enemy of wickedness will burn each other. Hold still, let me burn you. Okay, well, I get to do you next. Sure, all right, whatever. For then will I turn to the people a pure language. Available on academia.edu for free. Don't pay for it. Those are obsolete because I've updated them on Academia. That they may call upon the name of the Lord to serve him with one consent. So yes, Brigham Young created a coded alphabet. It just changed the shape of each of the English alphabetical letters. And so yes, instead of knowing that what the text said, the English of America will not know what they're talking to each other about in Mormonism. That was why we were doing it. He's not very intelligent for code writing, but nonetheless, he let Mormons believe that it had to do with this concept for the gathering to his Zion, as he likewise claimed to be the man like Moses. False. Mormons don't believe in him. But I'm the chosen one. I got second anointed. Alrighty. And so they talk about how the wicked people are mocking and laughing at them from the tree of life. Not a coincidence. Yes, it is a comparable thing. Mormons are supposed to hold to the rod to get to the tree of life, all gathering to their Christ at the tree of life. The fruit, the fulfillment. Yom Kippur, the writing of the fruit, fulfillment. And so yes, the tree of life has to do with this also, with Pentecost. Nobody else is going to teach you this. I just did. And so there it is. And they will not, I'm not seeing a Book of Mormon reference. Nope, they didn't. They didn't know. They didn't do it. Okay? And so people are amazed that there's a translator app available for people. Others are mocking it, saying it's AI, it's not telling you the truth. They're drunk with new wine. We don't drink wine. You do understand this, Mormons, right? You impose your morality, and all of a sudden the 12 apostles are wicked, violating the word of wisdom. Not just Noah. And others. Even Jesus. No, Jesus turned the water. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah. Jesus is a violator of the word of wisdom. Deal with it. I won't touch it myself. The fermentation does not smell right to me. And it's bad enough with the mouthwash. So yeah, I have no interest or desire to try alcohol beyond the mouthwash. I don't give a damn of how you think it's awesome. Wake up somewhere you don't know where you are and you're missing your clothes and organs and thinking that was cool as you barf up another of your missing lungs and want to do it again the next night. No thank you. No thank you. But Peter standing up with the 11. Remember? Judas, the betrayer, the apostate, sowing tares among the wheat. Oh, hey, 19 July 1840. Oh, Brigham Young is doing that. Interesting. They use Mark for the last day's supper. Joseph Smith is awesome. Okay, so now Peter is the Christ, not Jesus. Because in the gospel stories, Peter is the betrayer of Jesus, which is also contrasted in other story versions combined in the book of Matthew of Caiaphas, who's the leader of the church, betrayer of Jesus, wanting to murder him. Whereas Peter is just portrayed as one who denies the Christ in multiple ways, not just the 3 cock crowing, but also, Peter, do you love me? Of course I love you. Feed my sheep. Peter, do you love me? Of course I love you. Feed my sheep. Peter, do you love me? Oh, you don't know that I love you? Feed my sheep. If you don't know Greek, you don't understand it. But nonetheless, Peter is denying the Christ there also. He denies him multiple times. Peter is the apostate in the gospel stories. Now, in Acts, Peter is the Christ. And the brother of Jesus is the head of the church, as Peter or Caiaphas from the Gospels. The false prophet versus Jesus, or in this case Peter, as the true prophet. I don't read. Right, I keep forgetting. Deuteronomy 18, 15 through 19. The Jewish Christ. The prophet, whom Joseph Smith says is our Christ. Who would be a Mormon. Right? So yes, Peter is not the leader of the church. Acts 15, James speaks last, meaning he's the head of the church, not Peter. So despite all of you thinking that upon this rock I will build my church, and you will now be called Peter instead of Simon, wrong. But the Catholic Church have the tomb of Peter at the base underneath the foundation of the Vatican. So it's gotta be true. Yeah, let's do a DNA test of the bones, if any, in that tomb. Oh, it's a post-Christian who was murdered and put in there to be the bones of Peter. Oh, well, they didn't say that in Angels and Demons. The real conclave. Hilarious. Okay, and so verse 17. Sorry, Bruce. Wrong. And it shall come to pass in the last days. Any confusion that is not Joseph Smith? I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh. Your sons and daughters shall prophesy, and your young men shall see visions, and your old men shall dream dreams. That is Joel. And upon my servants and upon my handmaids, Amidala, as Star Wars is Jewish. I will pour out in those days of my spirit, and they shall prophesy. If only. If only. Although, it just a few days before, I was thinking, oh, yeah, she hasn't tried to email me in a while. And then the other night, yep, there she is. And I can see from the text that she said she had had a dream of me the previous night. And I went, oh, she's not explaining it, is she? She's trying to lure me in to communicate with her. And then I know what's going to happen. And then she's going to, get angry with me for being an apostate, and I should go to church and believe in Jesus and obey Nelson. And then I can just say, well, you mean polygamy? And then she'll come back apologizing for getting angry with me, and then tell me, I just want you to come back to church and believe in Jesus. Oh my God, leave me alone. It's the second Acts. And so they continue on with Joel, as verse 16 says, that which was spoken of by the prophet Joel. As Joseph Smith likewise refers to Joel after talking about the Christ with Acts chapter 3. So yes, the second vision must be included in your understanding of this. Joseph Smith makes it very clear the Jewish Christ is our Christ, but the day had not yet come. He's not here yet. He wasn't born in the Roman period time. And yet you won't read, so you don't know. And therefore don't believe. And so I'll show signs in the earth beneath, and blood and fire and vapor of smoke, and the sun shall be turned into darkness, solar eclipses, 3, and the moon turned to blood. So, all of that, I've done the videos. Before the great and notable day of the Lord come. And so, do you not see what the author just did here? This is after Passover of the Jews. Peter is the Christ. Peter is Egyptian for seer. So he's the false seer, in the Gospels. Now he's the true seer. But James is the false seer at the head of the church in chapter 15. But for Pentecost, he's Moses, the man like Moses of the latter days, the Jewish Christ. It's the same story. So the second vision, Joseph Smith is making it very clear for you, this is what it's all about. And so now we're being told of the day of the Lord, with the day that shall burn as an oven. Because the scriptures make it very clear, if we do not get to Zion, we all burn. There must be a gathering. The church's plan to have everybody stay where they are and build up the kingdom after the world is destroyed because you survive somehow is going to fail. It's a stupid plan. For 200 years they've been planning this. It's stupid. They're not factoring in human behavior. Right, Sister Jessica? YouTube Mormon employee from Utah County? And all Mormon apologists? Oh my God. Just unbelievable. And so, yes, pay very close attention for this month. Trump is escalating his building up of a military force under the guise of my birthday. He's got Stephen Miller helping him. Stephen Miller is a Nazi. He wants America to be Nazi. You need to know your Nazi history. You need to know what happened prior to World War II in Nazi Germany. How Hitler got elected as a Democrat and became Hitler when president. You need to know these things, or you will be deceived and repeat history. Oops, too late. Dear God. Come on, people. That's why they're making lists. They let you change your ID and your birth certificate to be on a list. That's why Trump went in to federal agencies to get the lists. That's why the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is getting a blacklist of those who watch porn. That's why Trump, April 28th, said, make me a list of sanctuary states and cities. Lists are made now. They know the names. And Trump is trying to get the big, beautiful bill passed so that he can put $1 trillion into the military. He's already got the military at the southern border. He wants military for his birthday on the 14th. He wants America conquered. He is allowing you to think he's a taco. So that he can then have you on his list. All the press, all those in government of the deep state Dems who are betrayer terrorists. All those in America on his list. Blacks, Islam, LGBTQ, women, undocumented, who else? The poor, all of you are on his list. You're not getting it. You're not seeing what's coming, what is being set up. He's got us in checkmate. He's just toying with us right now. You're not seeing the danger you're in. It's coming. The church heavily invested into this. They are not going to fail again. All right. And so this is Pentecost. And here they're talking about David, speaking concerning him. I foresaw the Lord always before my face, for he is on my right hand, and that I should not be moved. So it's letting you know the Christ is a descendant of David. Not a space alien from Kolob. Or a dove. He would raise up Christ to sit on his throne according to the flesh, fruit of his loins. Again, I just destroyed all of Christianity, Islam, and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, just like Romans chapter 1, verse 3. Right there, verse 30. Dear God. See, they talk about the correct understanding of resurrection here. In verse 29, men and brethren, let me speak freely unto you of the patriarch David, rather than King David, that he is both dead and buried. Joseph Smith is both dead and buried. He's not coming back from the grave. And his sepulcher is with the community of Christ still unto this day, because the church didn't want it. They got everything else that was of monetary value. Sorry, the bones of Joseph Smith, yeah, that was pretty valuable for Mormons. You'd have the rich Mormons all wanting to buy it, and yet the community of Christ couldn't give that away, huh? And so, yes, in this context, King David is dead and buried. Therefore, being a prophet and knowing that God had sworn an oath to him that of the fruit of his loins, according to the flesh, he would raise up Christ. Do you not get this, people? Jewish. Not space alien Heavenly Father from Kolob. Not a dove. A descendant of David according to the flesh. Fruit of the loins. Seed, egg, baby. Not complicated. Read it. Quit fooling around. Read it. To sit on the throne. To resurrect the kingdom of David. And so 31, he seeing this before spake of the resurrection of Christ. See, I didn't review this before. I just read it. And I've already told you that that's what the interpretation was, and here it is. I didn't plan this. And it's already over an hour. All of the Mormons have gone. This is wrong. This isn't faith promoting. I was tricked. The resurrection of Christ is the restoration of the kingdom of David, of Christ sitting on his throne in New Jerusalem. Zion. And Joseph Smith says Mormon, because the 3 days of darkness are over the United States of America, not Jerusalem. Okay? So now, Shavuot. It is among the top 3 festivals, holy days for the Jews. Passover, Shavuot, Tabernacles. All the 7 days, and this is 7. It's also Sabbath, even though it's in the plural. Because Shavuot is 7, Shavuot is Sabbath. They're from the same root. So Shavuot, being in the plural, is also the combination of Sabbath and 7 from Paleo-Hebrew. And so the coming of King David is to restore the Sabbaths and the Jubilee, which is 50. Both has to do with the same thing. Pentecost. The Lord of the Sabbath. Shavuot, which I just read to you. The restoration of the kingdom. Restoring Joseph's church, which was a restoration of King David, not Jesus, of the Roman period time. All right. So it's always the 5th of Sivan, because it's 50 days after the 14th to the 21st of Nisan. 14th being the evening for the 15th to be the actual first day. So the 15th through the 21st is 7 days, but you include the 8th day of 14, because evening starts the next day for the Jews. Okay? And so it's the start of Passover is the 50-day count. And so this year it falls on the 1st of June. And this is also the wheat harvest. Any of you know yours? No, you don't. You don't read. The separation of the wheat from the tares, or the wheat from the chaff. This is the separation of the wicked from the righteous. Those Mormons who keep wanting to worship Lucifer and call his name Jesus, versus those who believe in the Jewish Mormon as their Christ. The 2 churches, Church of the Devil, Church of the Lamb, Passover Lamb, Sacrificial Lamb of Aries on 8 April 2024, the sign in the heavens, in the likeness of things on the earth. And so, yes, Zion is where he judges those who come. The book of the law from section 85 also is involved with this. And it shall come to pass that I, the Lord, will send one mighty and strong. They don't want to footnote it to Deuteronomy 18, 15 through 19, and then 20 for verse 8. This is the Jewish Christ here. The one mighty and strong is the Jewish Christ, holding the scepter of power in his hand, clothed with light for a covering, whose mouth shall utter words, eternal words, while his bowels shall be a fountain of truth, to set in order the house of God. This is not Edward Partridge's responsibility. He's a bishop. No touchy the temple. It is not W.W. Phelps, or Parley people, yeah, W.W. Phelps. It's not him as the clerk. He has no authority to touch the temple, especially the Holy of Holies with the Ark of the Covenant. Even the false prophet can't touch it. And oopsie, precisely as it stands in our New Testament, which is also covered in Deuteronomy verse 20, 18 verse 20. This is only the Mormon who's the true man like Moses, seer, prophet, revelator, and translator of Paleo-Hebrew and Egyptian. You're supposed to run the test to know who he is. He's here. The latter days are over with. It's Pentecost for the Jews today. And somebody is late causing Armageddon. I'm really concerned we're all going to die. As Indiana Jones flashbacks come to mind. She's concerned about bugs. We are going to die. Pull the lever. Bugs. Yeah, that was pretty gross, but and to arrange by lot the inheritances of the saints whose names are found. That's Zion, the gathering. And the church says, no, stay where you are, wait until after you're burned. If you're righteous, you'll be resurrected. And then you can build up the church from there. Oh my God. That's the church's plot, to overthrow the world. And the world still isn't enough. They got to conquer other planets. Dear God. We're taking a rocket to Kolob. If we could hide at Kolob in the twinkling of an eye and then continued onward and occupy the sky. The book of the law. And I've told you that this is connected with Section 133, the call out to Mormons. And I told you to wait for it. I was hoping that this would be the day, but I was hoping that this would actually be the ceremony in Zion. I have it's all boxed up and I put it in the wrong place and it's buried now. This is just an utter disaster. I did my part. I fulfilled everything. Everything got fulfilled. All the times happened. And yet the enemy has failed because they ran a test in 2020. What? No! And so the wheat harvest is also in Exodus 34, 22, commemorating Shavuot as well. But that's the symbol. It's not to be taken literally as the Jews do. They don't understand that the Christ isn't coming to destroy the law and make a new law. He's coming to fulfill it, which means the law is prophecy. And the Jews thought, oh, okay, we got to do this. We've got to wear the clothing. We've got to grow our hair locks out. We've got to wear the phylacteries. We've got to observe the Sabbath day. We've got to have unleavened bread for Passover. and etc., etc., etc. Because they don't understand those are types and shadow symbols of the fulfillment of the latter days. The 7 years of darkness, 2017 to 2024. 21st of August 2017, 14th of October 2023, 8 April 2024, forming the first and last letters of the Paleo-Hebrew alphabet, which is the word sign. Signs in the plural, with the added T for the 2 crosses. That's right there for the Jews, but Christianity botched it and screwed it up for the Jews as well. And so they believe that it has to do with the 10 Commandments and at Mount Sinai, which has to include Aaron and the gold cow that is being worshipped instead of Moses, who restores the temple, and prostituting of women, which in that story is orgy sex, which are the Baccharan, Dionysian orgies of the Romans, that is being portrayed by the author who wrote it during that time. Okay, so we'll need to find that particular passage. They say that 1312 is the date. That's because of the Rambam saying that the first date when Adam and Eve fell and began was 3,750, something like that, whatever. That's what they're basing it off of. And so 1312, then just out of curiosity, I'm betting it's going to be the 19th dynasty of Egypt, which is why the 10 Commandments movie had it Pharaoh Ramses. Egyptian Pharaoh 1312. Ramses II. Yeah, wrong. Prophecy. David Moses III is the Christ, who put his foot on the Mount of Salem in the midst of the war of Armageddon against the Hittites. Pay attention, guys. Don't look beyond the mark, as Jacob tells you you are. Ready? Okay, let's find that stuff, even though we talked about it, just in case there might be something else for you. Sinai is the Osirian S, not the water S, and then N is for throne, so the throne of Osiris being restored by Horus. And then Horeb, you have two options. One is Hor, which is Horus for mountain, and then the B, which is a human in Paleo-Hebrew. It's the J stroke for human, and then the hand to the mouth for a human who speaks and who eats, from the Egyptian sign list. And so the human Horus, Christ of the Egyptians. Son Amen also is the title. Or the other way would be Rab, which is rabbi, master. So the master with the H at the beginning for the flail that you swat flies with or whip the ox to get him going. Facsimile number 2 shows the woman with the flail behind the ox. That's the flail. Pharaohs of Egypt would have the flail and the crook. King Tut had his arms over holding the 2. That's the Aramaic letter A instead of the Paleo-Hebrew A, which we know it as an actual A shape. The Aramaic A is an X with a little crook. That's the crook and the flail. I deciphered that too, because everybody else didn't. Nonetheless, so the flail of the master. So air. And in the air of the waters separated is sky, and so the sun goes across the sky. Sun, master, Amen. Sun god at noonday. That's why it's the same word, just a different spelling, visionary spelling of it. Okay. Yeah. 34. Moses used new tablets of stone. He goes up into the Mount Sinai for 40 days. And so, yes, that's why chapter 1 again repeated the 40 days in Acts. Don't think I covered that, did I? Let's go back. Jesus ministers for 40 days after his resurrection. Oh, I did cover this. Yeah, that's 40 days. Ministering, 40 days. Tables of stone to minister, 40 days. Top of the mountain, Sinai, Mormons, Utah. Seeing the connections? No, you're not going to read. The Lord proclaims his name and attributes and reveals his law. What are you talking about, Bruce? So I'm not seeing any highlighted name like, that happened on Purim this year. I am that I am, fulfilled. And Lord proclaims his name and attributes and reveals his law. He makes another covenant with Israel. The skin of Moses' face shines as he wears a veil. Not planning on a veil for the ceremony, but yeah, that's why you wear veils, women, in the temple. You are the temple of the house of Israel. And so, yeah, it's all screwed up. Don't take it literally. It's not literal history. All right, so the Lord descended in a cloud. See what they did there? See what Christians screwed it up with? They think Jesus coming in the clouds of glory, it's merely Pentecost, which is supposed to be today. But somebody's late causing Armageddon. Christians say that this is when Jesus comes and burns people. Joseph Smith says, no, Jesus isn't real. The Christian leaders know this. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints know this, so they have to cause the burning. There it is, Pentecost, next week. The coming of Jesus. That no man knows the day or the hour of, because it's written in the text, and they won't read it. That's what it says. This is the Jewish Pentecost. Pentecost in Acts is this. And the church and Christians say that the Lord Jesus descending from the clouds is his second coming, his burning, and Pentecost. Apparently they don't know this, so I guess next week won't be it either. Especially when the church finds out about this video from the church service missionaries, or not the church service missionaries, the Strengthening Church Members Committee, who are supposed to watch all my videos and return and report to them. Travis said that the day and the hour is the 8th of June for Pentecost. God, Travis! No, Travis is wrong. We need to have a special conclave of the apostles. Get out. Travis exposed our backup date. We've got to come up with a new one now. Get on the phone to China. Tell them to wait. Notify Trump to ease up and act like a taco concerning war with China. Oh my God. Stanford had once brought up in a comment about loud laughter and the gospel law. It's from a scripture, no loud laughter, from Paul, I believe. But he's referring, it's not correctly translated, it's not loud laughter, because obviously, if you all of a sudden are shocked with something that's hilarious, yeah, you're gonna burst out laughing. That's not what it's referring to, and it's not mocking laughter of a wicked person doing something stupid, so you mock them, because Isaac is mocking laughter. What it's referring to is drunken, boisterous laughter for the sake of laughing. As a wicked person, laughing at people's misfortune, you're getting drunk, and so every little thing is funny. That kind of laughter. You don't have to be drunk. It's all inclusive as wicked laughter, to understand it correctly. And I have to go to the word and explain the correct translation. But anyway, just in case you're a Mormon, you're thinking to condemn me as the Pharisees did to Jesus. Just warning you in advance, don't go there. I will humiliate you. Wow, this is a pretty cool video though. That is very interesting. June 8th. All right, and so that is Pentecost. Penta is the Jubilee year for the Jews from the Torah and the law. And it refers to freeing those in bondage. And so the portrayal is that those who have been in servitude because they've committed a crime against another person and they are forced to labor for them, on the 50th year, the slaves go free. But that, again, is a prophecy, type, and shadow of the 50th year, which was 2020, which now was a test run, when he was 50 years old. The Christ was 50 years old. And so this is in reference to the freeing of Mormons from the bondage of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, who are yoked to Jesus. Yeah. That's how it's supposed to be understood. And yet, Mormons like being in bondage to Jesus, prostituting their wives and orgy sex. So, alrighty, that is awesome. So, all signs in the heavens for the month of June. Today, da 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 da. The moon is there by Mars at the mouth of Leo the Lion. 9. Salvation. This is the 9th civil month, 3rd religious month. So 9 with Leo and 9 designated stars. The moon for religion in conjunction with Mars, who is Nelson, Russell, red, Marion, star of the sea, red, star of the sea, Mars, the husband of Venus, the church of Lucifer, the inverted pentagram, thus the husband of the church of the devil, Lucifer, Mars, Nelson. So expect Nelson to come out with an Instagram tweet today to say something stupid about his authority. So pay attention. It may be too late. No, Nelson, don't do it! No, Travis knows! Don't do it! Maybe he'll die. Maybe that'll be the message. Oaks now takes over. Oh, wouldn't that be great? But we need to go to next week first before we go to the 16th. On the 8th, next week, for the Christian version, botched, of Pentecost. You know, the day where Jesus comes from the clouds of glory to burn everybody because nobody knows the day or the hour. The moon is at the top of the scales of judgment. The moon. As Mercury, which is Trump, the president, is with Jupiter in conjunction. And so, apparently, I'm giving a message next week. Nelson is today for the moon at the mouth of Leo the Lion. Next week, I am with Messenger of the Gods, Mercury, giving out a message as Jupiter. At the top of the horns of Taurus, the bull, the transition of authority, the horns, shofar horns for blowing the message. At the top of the club of Orion, which originally was Osiris. And so at the top of Osiris's head, the restoration of Osiris's religion by Horus, the Egyptian Christ. See how all this is playing in? And Orion, which is designed as a shofar horn as well, blowing a message. And so all of message is involved for next week. And so I was hoping it was going to be today, and obviously it isn't, but I am educating you on this today as a result. So it's still being fulfilled in spirit. I don't count it either. I want fruit. Enough with these. Enough with these teaching moments. Get me the results. Dear God, this has been a long latter days. Okay? And so some other things to pay attention to for the signs in the heavens next week is that there's 3 falling stars at the tail of Draco the dragon. Well, at Serpens, not Draco the dragon. Although there is Hercules, which is close. It's more on the back, lower back, rather than the tail. Quadranted meteor showers are technically the stars falling from the tail of Draco the dragon, referring to Revelation 12. Serpens and Draco are involved in both. Aries still has the stars falling. Let me check to see if there's anything for June, because everything is over, so I didn't do my monthly Jewish calendars for you. Meteor showers in June. We can do 2025. Get AI off my screen. July 18th and July 12th are the next coming up meteor showers. Nothing for June. Okay. So that just means that the peak of these meteor showers that are going on right now are not now. So they're minimal as a result. When is the Aries peak? June 4th is the peak of the Ariads. Wow. Daytime Ariads. Wow. Oh my God. Oh my God. Why didn't you tell me this? All these pop-ups. Get off the screen. Work. Come on. It's not going to work because it's buffering and the camera's on. can't get the computer. There we go. God, took forever. Pissing me off. So now I got to check for June 4th. Classics. Class. June 4th. Ariads. Okay. That was necessary to know. Essential for our eternal salvation. Alrighty? So that is interesting. We need to find that out and add that clip. So I've got to shut down the camera to bring up my Urim and Thummim. Has a tendency of turning off my camera. And so, yeah, we don't need, oh, yeah, the 16th now, okay. And so after the 4th, which I'll have to do after all these, then we have the 14th, which is Trump's birthday, which not as significant. But the 16th, Mars is now at Regulus, the king star. And so if it's not Nelson's death today, maybe it's on the 16th. There has to be a death. A fall of the church, a death of the king for the transfer of authority. Both literal and figurative for the fall of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and the transfer to me so I can save you and get you to Zion. Even though you don't want to be saved, and I'm not forcing you to go, but I will have a backup judgment at Zion to make sure you really want to be here. No monetary system of economy. You have to love. No believing in Jesus. Are you sure you want to be here? Because there are going to be those Mormons who are going to purposely think it's funny to destroy Zion. You are not allowed. Because they keep coming to my channel and putting thumbs down and hate comments and death threats. And they don't care. And so we cannot have those Mormons in Zion. And so they will try to come. The bishop is supposed to be the first line of defense to make sure they don't come. And yet, that's section 133, the call out, and the bishops are going to not talk about sex anymore. It's to get you to Zion. Because the transfer will allow me to pay to get you to Zion and to pay to start up the building of Zion until it's completed, when it'll be self-sufficient, self-sustaining, and won't need monetary system of economy anymore to fulfill the Book of Mormon and Malachi and everyone except for section 119. Okay, so that's what's coming up then, and then the big show when everything is complete. Oh wait, nope, 21st. A little fun one for you. There's a downward pointing triangle in Aries on the 21st, in which at the front of Aries is the falling moon. At the back of Aries is the falling stars. And at the bottom of the triangle, Venus, the inverted pentagram, the falling pentagram. Hilarious. So bad news on the 21st of June for the church. And so, yeah, hopefully we're in Zion by then. Because on the 24th, 3 days later, Jupiter becomes the sun god at noonday. A virgin shall conceive and bear Jupiter, and shall be Emmanuel. That's the fulfillment date, even though it's the 23rd of September 2017 for the start of the ministry. This is the end. This is Zion. And the enemy's a little behind. Pissing me off to no end. How incompetent can they get? Alright? And so, yeah, we'll need to put that picture on this for you. Okay. Probably put it there between the horizon of the two mountains for Omega. And only those who endured to the end of this video will know and understand it. So let me check the fourth, come back with a little clip on that. Okay, so Aries is the sacrificial ram-lamb constellation. The peak Ariads is on the 4th, there at the rear of Aries. The moon for religion is on the shoulders of Virgo. Joseph Smith, Revelation chapter 12, verse 7 in the Joseph Smith translation. The woman is the church. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, with the moon on the shoulders, and the government shall be upon his shoulders. Aries, sacrifice, falling stars at their peak, with the government of religion of the church. Just saying. Stay tuned. We'll wait and see. So yes. So to summarize the signs in the heavens for June today, for Pentecost. The moon is with Mars at the mouth of Leo the Lion. The 4th of June is the falling of the government of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The sacrificial falling. The great and abominable church shall fall, and great shall be the fall thereof. So say we all. And then took it off the screen. And so on the 16th, the Mars, Nelson, is at the star Regulus. Assuming that the fall of the church doesn't involve a death, unless it's Oaks at this time. We'll have to wait and see what happens today. And so that's a huge passage of time. The 14th is Trump's birthday. Trump is planning a military coup of America by his birthday. There may be some bombs bursting in air over the United States of America. But next week is Passover. I forgot that, or Pentecost. I forgot that one. What was that one? Where are you? Let's see, 8. There we go. Oh, right. The moon is at the top of the scales of judgment. Danites, Dan, judgment, judgment day. The day of the Lord shall come as a thief in the night and burn everybody with the second coming for Pentecost, coming from the clouds of glory. Gotcha. Yeah. So we need that picture. 8th. The moon on Libra. Okay. So, yeah. it just, I really don't want you guys to die, especially those of you who are still listening, because you're the believers. But I'm really getting, I want to be in Zion. So then the 21st, the downward triangle of the three falling. And then finally on the 24th, Jupiter becomes Emmanuel. Even though Jupiter is, by translation, Emmanuel, Yah Peter, Jupiter, Yah Peter. And so Seer, but Yah is Zeus in Greek, without the us, which is the masculine singular ending. And so Yah, Zah, is Yah, the Hebrew God. And Ishmael is the name of Yah, is sun god, Emmanuel. There you have it. Jupiter already is comparable to Amun of the Egyptians, as is Zeus and as is Yah, but they're doing a sign in the heavens thing for you, as Jupiter becomes the sun on the 24th officially. So yes, I'm overly trunky. I am very exceedingly frustrated. I am just mockingly laughing at the failures of the enemy to fulfill their self-fulfilling prophecies. I just want Zion. And so yeah, it's great. I get more time to work on other projects. And there's other stuff to do. As I think I made a project list somewhere around here. So anyway, stay tuned. We're all gonna die. So I have to add what I saw with the sign in the heavens on next week's Christian Pentecost with the moon at the top of the scales of Libra. It's the 12th day. The 12, which minus the Judas character, whom they put Matthias in his place. Yeah, the 12. 12 stars, 12 days, Pentecost. Coming of Jesus in the clouds of burning glory of nuclear power. Next week.